This is a matchup for the ages. Body cuts a path straight to the paint, and she serves up a slam dunk. Oh, Body may have the win, but Frank really got the W on that play. That's gotta hurt.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Cyclone Fanatic postgame show. I'm your host, Aaliyah Nelson. Chelsea Poppens will be joining me in the Wild Rose Casino studio to talk about the Iowa State's tough loss against Utah, 75-67. But before we get started, let's thank our sponsors as always. We've got Channel Seed. They are the title sponsor for both men's and women's. They are with us all season long, and they're huge fans of Iowa State. So we're super thankful for them and our friends over at Fairway Meat Market. They've got all the great produce for you and your family, friends, anyone and everyone. So make sure you check out Fairway. Chelsea, tough game. But before we started recording, we said lots of positive things we can pick up from this game, which is exciting. But kind of talk about your, initial vibes right off after this loss.
Initial vibes. I'll compliment sandwich it. I love to see Iowa State competing. First, we talked about this in the pregame. You can't let Utah come out with a bang and go on a run. What is it, 11-0 runs or 7-0 run for a bit there? That's no bueno. But Emily Ryan, we were talking about how she needed to be in double digits. She did her thing. That confidence translated from last game. Also, I'm just going to throw the compliments out there. Ariana Jackson, she did the job. Mm-hmm. Locked down Neepkins, and that's exactly what she needed to do. I mean, Neepkins didn't get her first layup until the second quarter,
right? Her
first three until the third quarter. So, she deserves a round of applause. She locked it down. Absolute great job on her half. But we're talking about Sydney Harris stepping up, and she didn't. She didn't. I think she had 18 minutes, and we need somebody outside of Crooks, outside of Brown and Ryan stepping into that offensive threat and offensive scoring position. Eiley Tanky had some moments to be able to step into it, but she was 1 for 5. And so she's young, she's building that confidence and making plays that in high pressure scenarios like today, that's tough as a freshman. So hopefully she'll take this and produce the next time. But yeah, tough all around, but I love to see the potential of what Iowa State's capable of. It was a great game, the entire game, so that's awesome.
It definitely looked more like, the Iowa State women's basketball team that we're used to seeing. Was there a certain point in the game where you think energy shifted? Or I know it was back and forth who was leading, it was an exciting game the whole time, every quarter, but yeah, was there a certain time where you just could see the energy shift?
I felt like we were tired a little bit that second half. You could see Crooks was tired. She was losing the ball, getting blocked a little bit more. And when she's not producing and you're looking to other players to step it up, I also think it's a push-pull. If other players stepped up earlier in the game, Crooks would have more gas to finish the game.
Right.
It's just if it's a give and take, who's going to step up so that we all can finish together and win the game. I don't know. It's just one of those things.
It's exciting to see Emily step up, obviously, and you can see momentum shift and differences being made in games. But how do you get those other players? I know we've probably talked about it a million times. They're young, so is it's just confidence, or is it just more reps in the gym, or what do you think it is?
Confidence, it's reps, it's mental, just being able to get through the mental block of you've had some tough games, you lost to some great teams, and then get back into rhythm. I think it's also getting out of the mentality. I'm sure Coach Finley's working on it with everybody to just get out of the mentality of forcing it into Crooks. I love that there was less turnovers of guards trying to drill it down into Crooks at wrong times. You've seen that in the past few games where they're just they're tossing it. You're what are you thinking?
yeah. It's not, don't pass it down there, please. No. I get it.
I was like, that one was not open. And as a post player, you're like, I don't want that turnover on my stats.
Come on. I get it. It's tough, but what can they take from this game moving forward? Again, long season, like you can't let it get to you. What do you always say? Mind of a goldfish, but you also have to learn from, these losses. And this one almost kind of stings a little bit because they were in the place to win it. So what are a few things that they can take away?
I think it should sting. I think that like games like this where it was really tough and tight until the end, and they did their job. They locked down Niepski's. I'm sure that was in the scout. Like it's coming together. It's just not quite there yet. And I think that's just like referring back to all the tough games that they had, and like it's coming together.
Right.
Like a couple more games, and they're young, and sometimes it takes a little bit longer than these other teams. Like Utah's a more veteran team than Iowa State. And so it shows, especially in that end of game scenario where they're popping deep threes and they're making them where Iowa State and our young people aren't making them. And just like Coach Finley says, like we used to be known for that 3-point threat, and we're not so much anymore because we're constantly drilling it down into crooks. And so like, it's just getting back to our roots and what we know we're capable of doing. Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about the start of the game. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I thought it was a little better. Obviously, you can't you're not going to expect, Utah to make, what were they, like 7 for 7 from the field goal at the beginning of the game or something insane like that. It just seemed like they were making every single shot. So what did you think about Iowa State's start this game?
It was a little rough. Obviously when Utah goes for 6 for 7 and makes everything, and they come out with a bang. I think Iowa State needs to come with more energy. Utah comes out, their transition game's phenomenal, and they know how to attack and they know how to get to the hoop. And Torrey had a tremendous game where she was going at Crooks and doing things different and forcing Crooks to play defense, and bringing her out because Torrey has that footwork and that speed in order to beat Crooks, and has that advantage. But yeah, I'm like, the beginning was tough, but when Utah shoots 50% from the three,
literally
disgusting.
Everyone, I swear, we talked about this again before we started recording, but everyone is playing their best basketball. That's was that something that you kind of experienced too when you played? Like it seems like everyone was playing their best basketball against you. It's something about Iowa State.
I don't know about everyone's playing their best basketball. Like, yeah, UConn had a phenomenal game with 56% from the three. I think it's also speaks to like Iowa State needs to figure out what their defense looks like. Teams like that are so versatile. You got Torrey doing work down low, but also shooting the three at the end. And Iowa State's just not built like that right now. Like they had to figure out what that transition works out, because Crooks does such a phenomenal job of like guarding the paint that bringing her out like puts them at a disadvantage, and the guards have to figure that out. And it's a learning curve, and they're working on it.
So does that just, how do you go about a situation like that? You just, explain it to me and to the people listening, like as if we've, never watched a game of basketball, because it's tough. It seems like there's almost nothing that they can do, because like you said, bringing Crooks out would be a disadvantage. And so is it just rotating, getting more energy? What is it on defense?
I think Coach Finley has talked about it a little bit, is like he's looking for players to do one thing good on offense or on defense. Like all they have to do is lock in on that one thing good. And we talk about balancing the roster, the people out there, the 5 players out there. I think it comes back to like, obviously Williams is getting some time and playing defense. She's been kind of getting into foul trouble. Brown stepping up and making some threes and whatnot. It comes back to other players taking the load off of Crooks and becoming a more well-rounded team, having a deeper bench of who's able to come in and translate those offensive scoring into like points.
And speaking of points, shout out Audie for making 1,000 career points in 49 games.
Yeah, that's huge. She's a dog.
When I saw that stat, I was like, oh my, because Ashley made it in 64 or something like that, which I mean, and she's a stud. So the fact that Crooks is making it in 49 is a pretty incredible feat.
Yeah, up there with Juju and all those other greats. So
I know.
huge. I mean, if she's like averaging a double and she came in as a freshman and was phenomenal, 40 points versus Stanford. Like, I think she definitely came in and made an impact right off the gate. So
It's exciting too because there's so much that she can, like, she's obviously such a great player now, but I feel like she has so much potential to really grow her game, and she still has so much more games to be able to do that. And it'll be exciting to see what she does. But I'm also excited, everyone's talking about Audie, but I'm excited to see other people step up throughout the season. I mean, getting to watch Emily step up, you can tell her confidence and like her presence on the court just seems a little bit different these last 2 games, and it's definitely made a difference.
I think the maturity of the sophomores, and even like Emily, obviously she's a veteran, but like the maturity of the sophomores, what they say, like rising tides raises all ships. I think Audie playing at that level forces her teammates to step up and elevate and play at a different level. And like, I think that's kudos to her, and like the way, and Brown and Emily and the way they're handling the team. And like even Sydney Harris, like coming in and trying to a new team, trying to make an impact. Like, I think it's just going to translate, and we're just stepping into Big 12. There's plenty of games left. Played the toughest season out of pretty much everybody, or toughest preseason out of everybody. So yeah.
There's a lot of positivities. This isn't like a game where we crapped the bed, but I think it was good. Lots of positive stuff. I'm excited. It seems like they're getting it. It doesn't seem like they're going backwards, which is a positive.
Yeah, there's a lot less hate in our feed right now.
Literally every time we log in, I'm like, okay, let's hopefully the comments on the live shows are good. But I think people can recognize that Iowa State women's basketball is really putting in the work, and they're figuring stuff out. Again, you've always reiterated it. It's a young team. They're gonna get it. It's they've got a lot to work on, but they're putting pressure. They're figuring it out. So
yeah,
it should be.
I think also for like people who like hate on Coach Finley and his coach, I was like, you see him making changes. It really comes down to players and youth and like knowledge of the game. And I was like, Coach Finley's like in the even especially in the last game and this game, you saw Taulele get in, the shifting of the guards, the shifting of the players coming in has been faster. He recognized that something needs to change, and it wasn't just playing against UConn and South Carolina. But like they are making changes, and it's just about people building up that confidence, that mental game, and being able to compete with some players that are elite, because I don't think people understand how elite Big 12 is and the players that are involved in it.
It is a monster, and I feel like we always say that it is a monster across the board. There's no team that you can underlook. They are all savages, so great at basketball. So it's exciting. And speaking of, Iowa State's got a game on Wednesday, January 8th at Arizona State. So obviously it shouldn't be too crazy, but you never know. Again, everyone brings out their best basketball. It's Big 12 play. People are fighting, competing. So, but yeah, you guys can tune back in to watch Chelsea and me on the pregame and postgame show on Wednesday. So go Cyclones. Thanks for watching.
Go State.